And a difficult one to call, Tony, as we were saying out in the arena beforehand. On paper, Amy, the slightly higher ranked player, but Megan's been in such good form lately.
Yeah, Megan, integral part of the England women's team. Great talent. Yeah, she's been coming up through the ranks. Very good friends, these two girls. Amy, of course, multiple world, European champion. Probably one of the most decorated players in the women's game. Came through a tough encounter in her quarter-final against Mary Talbot. Mary, of course, has come over from snooker. Incredibly good potter and great cueist. I was talking to Amy earlier, and she said it's simply just a matter of time before Mary Talbot wins a big event. So it's just inevitable. She's put so much into it now as well. But she got through 7-5. She was behind. But that's one thing that Amy is. She's never say die battler. On the other hand, Megan Proctor came through against Barbara Taylor 7-2. Barbara, of course, has had a really bad back. She's been suffering after, unfortunately, having a bit of a bump on the M25. Not her fault. They're in a queue and somebody ran into the back of the car behind her. Then they hit her car and she's been in a lot of pain, bless her. She did well to get her quarterfinals, though, to be fair. Because I did see her playing and she can't get down properly on her cue. So hopefully Barbara recovers fully soon. Is back to her fully fit self. Great player that she is. But anyway, this promises to be an intriguing encounter. Of course, the other semi-final will be coming later. Kirsty Lee Davis will be taking on Lucy Smith. Lucy, of course, dispatched Harriet Haynes, who in the first round beat Marion Jude 7-0.
Yeah, I didn't see the match, but I definitely saw the score.
I said, what happened? Amy watched it and she said, Marion I've never seen Marion play so badly, but incredible scoreline. I had to have a double take. I thought, did she not turn up? You just wouldn't expect it. It's last year's, the 2023 Ladies World Champion to go down 7-0. I know Harriet's a top-tier player, but that was an incredible scoreline.
It's really changed this competition, having a pro division now in the women's game. It used to be that for the top players, the early round matches in the group stages were really just a case of qualifying. Wasn't much jeopardy. Now the format's changed to being the same as the main pro series.
Yeah, it was just jockeying for position in the groups. It was, and you'd end up with a couple of dead rubbers in matches, which, the women weren't enjoying those sort of games. Well, I've got to come back downstairs from my hotel room to play a game that doesn't matter because I've already won the group. And it's. I'm not going to say it was dull, but for the player, and now it's exactly the same as obviously a few less players, but the same format as the main pro series. I think it's better for the game, for the women's game, and I'll tell you what, it will grow them as well. Instead of there being 3 or 4 really top women, there's now going to. If you look what's coming through as well, you're looking at about 8 to 10 dozen maybe will be coming. Like the likes of Mary Talbot, Sarah Waite, all these players are coming along. And I'm telling you, it's going to be big, and they're great players.
Yeah, it was the right change at the right time, wasn't it? As you rightly say, the depth in the women's game has just gone through the roof. It did used to be a case of just having a few people that were always, the winner was always going to come from a pretty small group, whereas that's not quite the case anymore. Megan will be disappointed with that. She's done a lot of the hard work, but just left herself a bit of distance on that shot. I think of the two players, you'd have to say that Champs is more used to being out in this arena setup, although of course Megan has made the last 2 finals, so that's helped to warm her up for it.
Yeah, and during those finals she was also playing in the World Championships along the way, and England were obviously out in there playing international matches as well, so I'd say she's had plenty now of, I think, enough to know what to expect. And
yeah, she looked quite relaxed coming out. I think maybe a few tournaments back, if she was out in the match arena, she'd have been a bit more nervous about it.
Well, they both said to me they're both enjoying the tables as well. Now the Ras on Apollo. I just like looking at them. I think they look. Here's a word. I think they look swish. They're modern. They just look. They just look the business. I love them. Very close here for Megan. I thought it was just about to drop in, and she would have had a shot at the black as well. Now Amy, take this ball closest to the rail first. And there is the typical shot that would have been swallowed up by the pocket a couple of months ago on the older tables. But what she has done is managed to snooker Megan Proctor.
Came very close with her last attempt. This is a slightly easier one.
Great shot, but then that's all she could do is pot it. It was going to be very hard to get position onto the 8 ball, but at least she's got a shot at it.
A shot at it, but the options aren't great.
For me, the only shot there is to play the black ball, half ball into that yellow to try and send it into the right hand cushion and back into the middle bag. Well, played the loss of turn. I wonder if she hit it with that much power. I wonder if she's thinking she could maybe top the cue ball into the black ball after the yellow one and then try and push it in as well.
Yeah, I think from her body language she was having a go at that.
Yeah.
It's not a great outcome, but it was never going to be a great outcome if you missed, because this ball was always going to be waiting over the pocket.
Champ's potting 2 in 1, and I think that little nudge is enough for Amy to be able to see that yellow at the top.
Yeah, she'll be happy with that last nudge. They could have rubbed off the wrong side of that, but she can still see both balls.
And that'll do. Just going to pop this into the middle, drag the cue ball back a bit. Again, that last yellow might if she leaves herself a bit of angle, which she has done, she's going to have to play a little bit of pace on this. Just pinch a bit of screw inside and come back off that rail. So it's not just a roll in. So she'll have to be a bit careful with this.
And that's how the game's changed, because you wouldn't have previously looked at that and said that shot was a problem.
No, she played it very well. We can play it any better. And it's Amy Beauchamp that draws first blood here in Blackpool. Not very long ago, got to the last 2 seconds of the match before Josh Kane finally beat Shane Thompson 7-6 in an incredible encounter in the men's event, or the pro event, should I say.
It's got a really good break, hasn't she?
And it's a nice split for Amy here as well.
Controlled that well. Just wanted to screw back a bit, not overdo it. This has been a good start from Amy. It was a good start from Megan as well. Just the last couple of balls got away from her. She did come very close to digging herself out of the hole she'd got into.
Well, funny, it's the first match in this arena for the start of the week on Thursday in the pro event. It was Amy Beauchamp playing Ryan Lambeth in the opening round of event 7. She did eventually lose, I think 7-4, 7-3 or 7-4, no, can't remember. Getting too old to me memories going. But yeah, she played pretty well, and it was her first time that she'd ever hit a ball on these tables, because she'd just come back from the States. Yeah,
she was one of the delegation of players that had gone over to play in the Colorado Open in Denver last weekend. Her first taste, I think, of that brand of pool. She did a bit of commentary while she was over there. Sounded like she was enjoying the trip.
Yeah, I was listening to her. Yeah, she's part of the team with us from time to time. She pops in, and she always does a good job. Very knowledgeable.
Yeah, her analysis is excellent, and that's often a a good indicator. People that are able to explain what they're doing and they understand why they're doing it. Shows why she's a top player.
That's a lovely shot she's played there. Just steering the cue ball into that red. Great control. Looked an easy shot, but it's far from that because you have to judge that pace and you have to hit that red in the exact spot with the cue ball to get it to there. If it's a couple of inches differently, it's no good. But then she'll be slightly disappointed that she's landed there afterwards, but she has a cut into the right-hand centre.
Yeah, it just rolled far enough. That wasn't what she wanted, but she can get hold of the cue ball, drag it over to the left-hand side cushion and keep it out of trouble. Plays it nicely. Good clearance from the break to follow up on the first frame. 1 out of 6 and a final already this season. 3.5 more events to come, the rest of this one. Second event tomorrow and then 2 more in November. Referee just coming over to check. It's a touching ball against that yellow. That doesn't really change much. Potted a ball, but obviously the leave on the cue ball is awkward. She can get through to pot a red if she wants to, but it's not the most appealing starter and it's not the most appealing layout if you do pot it. You probably have got to pot a ball and just take a colour set and then play a safety. I mean, you could obviously go for a finish, but it does look high difficulty from where she is. The ball on the right-hand rail, maybe an open play, but isn't going to be an easy pot to get on. And then you've got the cluster red in amongst the yellows near the right centre.
Just overcut it. But it wasn't an easy table to navigate there, was it, Mark? It's a bit messy, and it's going to be a little bit messy here now for Amy as well. So
normally a very attacking player, but she's also, as we've talked up a couple of times, very astute. She's not going to go for anything silly.
That's unlucky. I mean, she obviously played double, but she was playing to go off the red there, kick that out of the way, and just try and open up that bag a little bit more. She's just having a look now and see if she can get the other one in there. I don't think it will. She might be able to get it in the pocket, but it won't nudge that red out of the way, which is the job she needs to do around that bag.
Such a good potter. That was an awkward shot, the angle she was at.
Knocked it in like it wasn't there.
And now the remaining yellow does pot clean to the right centre, even though it may not look like it from this angle. It will go in above the red. Not from here, obviously, but she gets somewhere near straight on it. Some of the players that have been over in the US took a little bit of time to adjust to coming back. Possibly just as simple as being slightly jet lagged. Some of the pros had flown back only a couple of days before the event started. Amy doesn't seem to be showing any ill effects of that trip. Looks pleased to be here. Nice format this, having the semi-finals and a final on the Saturday night. You always feel like the Friday and Saturday nights at this event, where you've got so many players around for the other events, creates a good atmosphere. The ladies' game as a whole is always that little bit more supportive somehow. There seems to be just a bit more camaraderie between the players. The male pros all get on very well, but somehow the ladies still seem to be there rooting for each other and supporting in big games like this. So Amy wildly overcut that yellow.
Just having a little chat to herself there, Amy. She's a bit annoyed with that shot.
Decent chance this now for Megan. Some of the problems have been sorted out for her by Amy potting a couple of the yellows that were blocking balls. So got the ball at the right hand rail. Probably not going to be any reason to try and move it, but she's going to try and drop in nicely behind it as she misses a very unexpected plant.
I think she just took her eye off that one. I think she expected, because it looked quite simple, she'd sort of dismiss it. I know I'm going to pot that, and was more concentrating on where the cue ball was going for the next shot, and it's easy to do that.
Yeah, it did look very well set. I can sort of understand how she did that, but you obviously can't.
No. That's not what Amy Beauchamp wanted. She thought she could steer the cue ball up past the 8 ball and have that yellow available in the left-hand centre, and now she's completely snookered. Expected a hit and get out of it, but the only saving grace is when Megan missed that plant, she put both those reds over that side rail, which has made it very, very awkward for her to even get to the table and make a finish herself.
It wasn't a bad chance, even though she was snookered for Amy, because if she had potted the ball to the left centre, she would have been on the one to the right centre.
Well, ball in hand now for Megan Proctor.
It's the 2 balls on the right hand side that are the problem. She could just play a developing shot, bump them off the cushion and try and hide the cue ball, or she could leave herself an angle on this ball to the middle to try and break out the 2 balls on the right cushion. Just try and get the joint of the balls.
Great shot. Well, that's fairly aggressive, to say the least. So you know what was going through Megan's mind. She's going game. But they're not. I like that. I like that in a player. You know, because it's easy to play a safety, and I've done it thousands of times, and so have other players. You play the safety, you play it badly, and then you just hand the frame to your opponent and think, why did I bother even doing it? So I like this approach from Megan.
Well, I think especially as there wasn't a really obvious safety. Sometimes the balls are in a position where you're guaranteed a snooker and you develop them, and then that would have been the shot. The only thing is, because she only bumped the lower of the 2 out, she's still got the problem. The ball on the right-hand rail, obviously it does pot, but it's not... You wouldn't, for example, love potting it from the position the cue ball's in. You'd ideally want to be a bit straighter on it. And any time you get left with this situation of a ball on each cushion, top pros are very good at this, but it's never easy.
Well, you didn't want to be straight on it, because she's got 2 on 1 on each rail. She has to have the angle, pot this and get the cue ball back over. So tough shot here for Megan Proctor. It's wriggled in.
And she's ended up there because she's hit it quite thick. I mean, she'll be relieved that it's dropped, because plenty at that kind of pace haven't. Had she caught it thinner, the cue ball would have been coming further across to the left. Although, it's not almost the worst thing, because she's caught it so thick, she's actually landed reasonably nicely on a double.
Oh, great shot there. Played a double coming back into the middle. She's not been rewarded that well. It's not an easy 8 ball to pot. So she's a little bit in between here. For me, I think I'd prefer the cut back into the middle, because if you cut into the corner, there's always a chance that cue ball could clatter into that yellow and going off in the middle. So I'll go back in the middle, and she has done. That's a great, great finish from Megan Proctor.
Yeah, really top draw, getting over from one side to another, set that finish up. Well, she's done everything but pot a ball there. Got a nice split. There's the tide turning. Good clearance to the last frame for Megan, and then straight back to the table. Make a case for either colour here. Both sat quite nicely. Really an easy opening yellow. The red.
Yeah, this is
a slight
one of the few finishes that you look outside tables where the balls are spread that you look at and you think you can actually take either. It comes down to just player preference now. Probably an easier opening ball was the plant that Megan elected to play, but they're all open. She's not scared to go for a pot. I mean, the double that she pulled out in the last frame, followed by that thin cutted black into the middle bag.
And this is definitely something that's come along in her game. A season or two ago, she looked like a very decent player, but she wasn't getting the same consistency of results. She looked like she could nick a result against anybody, whereas now she looks like she's favourite or close to the favourite in most matches that she plays. She's not quite going to be a favourite against Amy Beauchamp, but she's not far behind. Did miss a ball to this bottom left-hand corner pocket at the very beginning of the match. Slightly different shot from this. That other one was from more distance, but also a bit further from the cushion. This one you've just got to pay attention to. This is the kind of shot it's very easy to get wrapped up in the near jaw if you're not careful. Played it really well, right?
Yeah, a little bit straight here, so I think she'll just pop this in and just leave the black into the middle. Nasty little shots these when you're cushed up dead straight. So a few of these missed through the weekend. They normally go far jaw when they miss. Not for Megan Proctor though.
All the other equipment that goes with it, the cloth and the balls. It's the quality of the whole package which makes these playing conditions the best in the world for these top players. You can see how much spin she's got on the cue ball there. Unwanted, you're not really trying to play with that much spin off the break. Still made a ball though.
Yes, incredible to watch that spin there by the middle bag. But since going 2-0 down, Megan Proctor's certainly grabbed this match by the scruff of its neck. Using her extension, and rightly so. Best time when you're not just quite sure of the map you're going to take or the route around the balls. She'd like to pot this yellow into this bottom right corner and send the cue ball in the direction of that cluster around that middle bag if she could get deep enough on the cue ball.
Well, for one moment she was worried she'd lost the cue ball into the centre, but has spat back off the jaw.
It's one. I mean, it's one of those a deep screw shot, but you need to play a little bit softer. But you've got to give the cue ball time to grip the cloth. It's just played a little bit on the far side, so instead of getting into the reds as well as the yellow, she just got into her own yellow.
Yellow does pot the middle of the three to the centre, but made sense to try and take that one out of the way that she's gone for first.
The problem with the yellows, they were always a little bit behind. So by not getting into those reds there, it's now Amy hasn't got an awful lot to do. The red that's just above the one over the middle, she just had a little check to see if that goes past into that top corner. If it does, then you'd expect Amy to get very close to going out here. Again, not the bump she wanted. Can she get through to the one over the bag? That's the important one. She wants to take that so she can get rid of that one up the rail next. So a little look of concern there. She just calls her extension while she decides what to do next.
Got to be a case for bailing out of it. You could find some safety at the bottom of the table off the red at the bottom.
Amy's not bailing out. I'll tell you what you could do now. I don't know if she can get through. If she could clip off the one that's on the rail and bump that one that's over the bag in, she might have an easier finish.
Yeah, or may even be able to get through to it, just play it as a plant. Either way, that ball resting on the top jaw of the middle pocket has completely changed this frame.
Yes, she can get through to the plant. Do you know, I never even looked at that. I thought the yellow was in the way. Wow. Hasn't that worked out well?
Yeah, now going for the finish looks like the right decision. It was all about that ball that she's just played. It looked like it was going to be tricky to go and retrieve that one, but the bonus of the ball ending up over the pocket, allowing her to play that plant. And suddenly now this is just open right up.
That's a good response from Amy after spending the last 1.5 frames sat in a chair.
Yeah, after the first couple of frames she might have been thinking that it was going to be an easier run. I don't think for a moment she thought this was ever going to be an easy match, but got off to a good start.
Left herself a nice bit of angle here on this red. She'll just want to track the cue ball into the side rail and up, get the cue ball sort of near that middle bag and have the black in the bottom right. That's the way. And this for 3-2 for Amy Beauchamp. And in it goes.
So just over half the match clock used up. So 3-2 to the good. Chance to add to that as she breaks off in frame 6.
It's going to be dry.
It's another great split, but she hasn't potted anything. And look at the way she's left these balls. The reds look great. The yellows aren't too far behind.
That's a great split. I would imagine it's a very grateful Megan Proctor that is now at the table. She'll want to immediately try and tie this match back up again. Elected to take the reds and in nice position.
Yeah, she wants to stay on level terms. As long as she's no more than a frame behind, that's okay. Obviously she'd like to get ahead. What she doesn't want to do is see Amy power off into the sunset. Particularly as time will become a factor. There's been a decent pace of play. There's definitely been no slow play, but a few tactical exchanges a couple of frames back has used up a bit of the match clock.
Still in good position, Megan Proctor.
Not sure there's ever a right answer as to which semi-final you want to be in, and it's not like you ever get the choice, but in a way there is something quite nice about being in the first semi-final. You can play this match and then you've got a bit of a break, knowing you've got the final to come later tonight.
Only if you win.
It's not so much fun if you lose. You wish you were in the other semi-final if you lose.
More time at the bar to contemplate things if you lost in the first one.
There's always something disappointing, obviously, about getting knocked out of a knockout tournament. That's the very nature of it. But I think there's something particularly disappointing in a semi-final. You're tantalisingly close. There's always something about reaching the final and playing in the biggest match of the day in front of everyone. Both of these two very good sports. They'll wish the other one well, whoever does go on to make that final, but obviously you always want it to be you.
Yeah, it's the prestige of being in the final, you know, to walk out in the arena and you're down to the last two. You can see the trophy there, sat on the sidelines. It's within reach. Sometimes they're that close, but then so far away as well in finals. Trust me, I know. Well, she had a similar black earlier, but it was straighter than this one. Into the same pocket. I'm presuming she's going to play the slow cut into the middle. It's an easier shot than going up into the corner. This time she's not made the pot.
And how big a moment could that be?
Yeah.
She's done all the hard work.
She has.
If she lands just a couple of inches further away from the cushion, that pot's
Tough
just
shot,
so much easier.
It's very tricky. The one she had earlier, it was obviously a much easier shot. It was straight. Not nice shot, but an easier shot. It now depends whether Amy is going to punish her to the max, which you think that she will.
I like Megan's demeanour. As she's sitting there, she's obviously annoyed. That's a bad thing to have happened, but she still has a positive look about her. She
she's got a great
quitting.
attitude. When you speak to her, you know she's got a really good attitude, and that's the thing. If you can have that, it will help you win titles, because you're never going to be, in a position where you've give up the ghost. When I played and I used to lose my rag and, that sort of thing now, I'd be sat there and wanted to throw the chair over into the crowd. I'd be absolutely fuming. But if you can get that, and that's just, it's gold dust. Great shot there from Amy. Yeah, she's a happy, jolly soul, is Megan. And a tremendous potter. I mean, really, really big potter. Doubles. I mean, we've obviously seen one earlier, and I've seen it at the World Championships. When she's playing for England, she put out some ridiculous finishes. But it is Amy now, 3 balls away from, and 4-2 up, and 3 away from a place in tonight's final. Of course, we've got Kirsty Lee Davies coming next against Lucy Smith in the other semi.
Yeah, talking
How
of
well
good.
she played that. I mean, for me, you don't want to hit the ball hard or something, because I'll be worried about it. I think, I'll just stop the white. I mean, that's such a confident way to hit that, playing off the 2 rails, coming back in the middle of the table, getting a bit nearer to the yellow as well. Brilliant this from Amy.
Yeah, really good cueing. Wasn't like she hit it hard either. It was the right pace for the shot. Seemed to cue it in smoothly.
Yeah, it's confident, brave potting. It's just not worried. She knows she's going to knock it in. Where I'll be like, oh man, I don't want to make any mistakes here. I just won't do too much with the cue ball. Quite an upright stance when she breaks, Megan, but it's got plenty of power in it, and she's made a couple of balls again.
Yeah, you can't really argue with the result. It feels like she's not quite catching the middle of the white. You can see the second time in a couple of frames, a lot of spin on the cue ball.
Yeah, it can be dangerous, that, especially if the balls are moving at a cannon into that cue ball and knock it into pockets, obviously. But it's nicely in the middle of the table for her at the moment.
Well, I think the positive about the break as well is that she's getting a good split and she's getting plenty of power, and I think there's probably more to come. She'll probably hit it even purer if she catches the very middle of the white. So it's in a good place with her break.
Megan Edges come down. She looked at that yellow that's on the rail that's stuck next to the red, which is obviously a main problem ball. And I wondered if she was eyeing up a double with it, but for me, I'd rather get the cue ball down and try and kick it out with that yellow that's near the black.
There are times when you've got 2 balls stuck to the side cushion that you can't really see how you're going to get the second one out. But actually, where that is, if you played a cannon nudged into the red, for example, the yellow is naturally going to be driven into the cushion and then back out. It's actually in quite a good spot to control where it's going to go and get it over the middle pocket.
The thing is, because, which I said earlier, that Megan is a tremendous doubler of a pool ball, and she obviously likes the shot. And is she looking at the angle to go into it, or is she actually looking at the double? It's hard to know, because she's pointing sort of where you would be if you could make the double. But I'd prefer if she moved it. Well, she might be moving it from there.
Yes.
But she's played for the double.
Yeah.
But she likes the double.
There's not a lot of space with the double when you see it from
that's
that
what I mean,
angle.
because that red's very close to the yellow. I don't know if you can get the cue ball out of the way. You'd have to be coming back quite thin on it, I think. Well, we're going to find out. I think this is really hard. You've got to get that cue ball out the way of the yellow, because it's going to come into it because I think it has to rub into the red. And if it rubs it, it slows it down from getting out of the way yellow, and I think the yellow comes back and clips it. Either that or it goes very wide. Or she just knocks it in without looking.
Pass the pocket.
I'll go and get me coat. Taxi.
I think what she had done there was play an excellent cue ball. I think she had the cue ball pretty much exactly where you'd put it ball in hand if you were going to play that shot. Really good finish from Megan Proctor.
Superb. Absolutely superb.
Wow, she's certainly making a match of it. Amy keeps sneaking ahead, but Megan's not letting her get away. Oh, and cue ball in the middle at a bad moment in the match.
Look at the split as well, Mark.
This is a great chance for Megan to get back on level terms.
Has to take the reds purely because she has to have the cue ball up behind the bolt line for her first shot. So reds are going to be order of the day, but they are all open and available.
This would be a key frame to win.
Well, we saw Amy went out 2-0 up. Megan slashed it back to 2-2, got rid of that two frame cushion. Then we had the little edgy bit where it's ones, and then Amy back out 2 again. And could be going back level once again.
I'm impressed with how both players have handled the situation. They've both come out from ball one and played some positive stuff. Much like how we saw the evolution of the main Pro Series, in the early days players looked like they were finding it a little tricky to adapt to the conditions and the timer when you're playing in the main arena. Now the top women's players have been playing out under these timed conditions a lot more. Starting to look very at home in these conditions.
Well, she didn't mean to be there. She tried to steer the cue ball into this sort of in the very central position so she could get on that red through the gap of yellow and black. We saw her have a little look at it, but she's not too bad here. She could just sort of soft screw that one into the middle bag, bring the cue ball back into that position. Then she could play the one into the bottom left-hand corner and leave herself in that gap that she originally looked at, because she might be able to put that in the middle, cue ball up and down the table and have the black in the bottom left. If you understood all of that waffle.
We'll let you know at the end whether she did that.
Okay. I don't know if that required bumping into the yellow. I'd have liked to get rid of that one on that bottom rail next, or near the bottom corner.
Yeah, you can understand that way there was a more guaranteed shot when you could miss the gap. She may be able to pot this and just screw off that yellow to the left of her hand and bump the black out.
Oh, perfect.
Really good shot.
Now then, when you pot this red, 2 ways. You can either play it with a load of running left-hand sides to the cue, goes off the side rail, spins down onto the bottom rail and comes up off the other side rail and then straight, or then you just put it right-hand side and come back the other way. She went the right-hand side way. I think the other way's prettier.
This has been top draw from Megan Proctor. These last 2 clearances have been excellent. Gets herself back on level terms once again.
Super finish, yep. And now Megan goes dry. Her eyes sort of smile, thinking, well, what have I left Amy? And she has left Amy. I think Amy might be looking at the yellows. No easy red, so I think yellows are slightly the better colour anyway, just purely because of those 2 at the top of the table that stuck to the top rail. So the Caller extension. The obvious ball she's going to play is the one into the right-hand centre first. Oh, she can get through to the one at the bottom, even better.
She gave away a good chance in the last frame. Be pleased to see one immediately given back to her.
When you look at the table, the main problem is a yellow very close to the red that she's looking at now, and if it goes into that middle on the left-hand side. So she got a tad forward. Did she play to be on it now? I don't mind her playing it now because I think regardless of where you leave the cue, as long as you pot this ball, you can still play the one at the top and come around the back of that red, and she's still going to be decent position.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for getting that one off the table. That was going to be an awkward ball to land on again. Ideally, you'd want to move the one at the top of the table now, so you need to come back for it.
I certainly would now. Don't want to be leaving that up there too long. I like to go in areas around the table and just get nearer and nearer to the black, if you know what I mean. So it'll be the long yellow now into the bottom right-hand corner. She'd like to be a little bit straighter. It's got slightly the wrong angle because she'd want to play the one that's near the cushion next, and obviously the yellow that's nearest the middle would be her connected to the 8 ball.
Just worry slightly when you play these shots. When you put just a bit more angle than you want, you can sometimes...
She's taking on the tougher ball. No, just slightly overcut it. Yeah, she didn't fancy the angle on the long pot into the corner. Now we're having a chat.
So the referee has announced the 15 seconds. Generally you find the time that catches players out when you just move into the last 10 minutes of the match and you start the 15-second shot clock. It's that transition from one to another. It just comes up on you so fast.
Megan still has her extension.
She's going to need it as well.
No, she doesn't. Yeah, she's got to take on this tough pot into the top corner, and then you've obviously got a sticky situation with the 2 reds up on the top rail. That's not going to go in. She's left Amy a chance. She can get through to the ball at the bottom over the bag as well. She hasn't looked. Wow. I'd be taking the one up. She can definitely get through to that one over the bag. I don't think she looked. I really don't. I think because of the clock and everything else, I think she's just, oh, I can see that long yellow. Because she could have definitely come down and clipped it. She would have been on the 2 in the middle.
That's the thing, isn't it? When you are playing with this shot clock, you end up just having to play the first shot you see because there isn't time to reroute.
Absolutely.
Well, she's hit that better than she thought was possible. She's screwed way back further than she intended to.
Yeah, and that red ball looks like it will pass the yellow down into the bottom right-hand corner as well. So if Megan can get rid of those reds at the top, she will have a chance. Oh, she's hung it. A dip of the legs there, like there's a please drop.
Yeah, she's hung 2 balls in consecutive shots in that.
Now, has Amy seen that she can pot this one over the bow? Yes, she has this time.
Yeah, she can see a lot more of it this time. Ooh. Wow, she's trying to hit too much of it. She needs to catch it thinner than that.
Yeah. That was it. A dejected walk back to the chair for Amy.
This isn't over though, because those 2 balls top of the table aren't really a natural plant, so she's going to manoeuvre her way around this situation. I think she's going to have to leave the ball down the right hand rail till last, just accept it's going to be a tricky-ish pot and connects to the 8 ball.
At least she's the right side of this red, because at least she can plot that in and stay behind these 2 reds. That's the perfect place to play the plant, because the second red will come away from the rail. Where the white will stay will be on the rail, and she'll have an angle to come down nearer to that red on the rail.
This plant is far from a gimme though. Oh, she's played that really well.
And now you see she's got that little angle because of where she landed with that second ball. So now she can get right behind this. She just want to roll it down the rail then, and the black in the centre. Now she's had mixed shots with blacks into the centre pockets. She's put one tricky one, missed another tricky one, so she's 1-all with them. But she's still got to navigate this red into the bag first before we even go that far. Great shot.
Yeah, that's a really good shot, and she's got prime position.
Yeah.
This makes the 8-ball close to unmissable.
Nothing's unmissable, trust me.
That's why I only said close. Good shot from Megan Proctor. Immediate chance for Amy to get back into it, though. If she can find a ball. Well, she's found a ball, but the wrong one. That's not what she wanted at all. Messier layout, though, than the last time.
Yeah, just a bit too early to start manipulating the clock for Megan.
Yeah, if she could get one more frame on the board, that's a 2-frame lead. You'd be more than happy to defend with a few minutes remaining. 1 frame isn't going to be enough.
Having said that, if she can have a nice scrappy frame here, judging by where the balls are, and she's on the better colour, look at the state of those yellows. I mean, they are really bad.
Yeah, it's not attractive for
What
Amy
we've got,
she looks on.
5.5 minutes. There's going to be no quick fix remedy for Amy if she gets to the table for those yellows. But I agree with you. You still got to go out and try and get this frame.
Does she risk a cannon onto the yellow, or does she think she can just drop in a gap?
I think she can drop in a gap. Oh.
Well, that's awkward now.
You still got to play the cut. You have to play it. If she misses it, the cuble's going to be down the bottom of the table somewhere, so that Amy's not going to have a great deal to go out. Yes, she'd probably be able to hit that one in the middle. Yeah, that's not a bad shot at all there from Megan. Amy's going to be putting everything just into this frame. She's got plenty of time to make this frame. Got to go game now. That's about right. Well, she's potted some very good rail shots as Megan Proctor. She's going to require one more.
Yeah, she's looked pretty nerveless with previous versions of this.
Right, so this can't be rolled, I don't think. I think she might have to just put a little bit more power into this shot, because she needs to make sure she gets on that red, and she needs an angle on it as well to get down for the black. So this is a big shot. Tough. There you see the power. They have to be absolutely pinpoint to go in them pockets now.
Yeah, if she had been able to roll it completely pocket weight, I think that might have been alright, but you're right, she had to get back to give the angle. What can Amy do, though? This isn't a great position to be fighting with only 3 minutes on the clock. It's a messy layout. Does Megan immediately just go for the loss of turn?
I think she would. I'd play the loss of turn now, I really would. All the time this clock is ticking. Megan's done the right thing. Pushed her red as well nearer those yellows to make them even more awkward. It's another sort of 20 seconds eaten up.
She can still see the red, but can't do too much with it. Time pressure is really awkward in this kind of position where there's a bit to think about tactically. So Amy wants to leave an angle on the ball to the left centre.
Yeah, well, she has to go in now. 2.5 minutes. She has to give herself some sort of chance.
It's a good target to aim for.
How about that? That is a fantastic shot there from Amy Beauchamp.
Now, does the first yellow pass the second yellow to the top right?
I believe it does.
If it doesn't, she can play for the one on the rail first. This helps. I think it probably didn't pass the way she's played it. I think otherwise you would have taken it the other way around. But she's now ended up a hair straight on this.
Oh.
This is trouble.
Yep, she just clipped that ball then on the way through.
Oh,
stop
what
it.
a recovery is that from Amy Beauchamp?
Amy, stop it. You can't do that. I'll tell you what, if this goes in, my word.
Oh, how close again.
Hit the post. Wow.
Wow, that's an amazing couple of
Smile
shots.
there, yeah. I think she hit that one out of snooking. There was an air of frustration the way she struck that ball. But wow, what a shot.
Megan's got to get on with this.
I'll tell you what, she got closer. How she managed to pot that in the last second.
Yeah, I mean, that was an exquisite bit of queuing up.
Look at the position.
No time to line up. Effectively now, these two balls for the match. There won't be time to overhaul a 2-frame lead. Megan Proctor's just got to make absolutely sure of this finish. Oh, and she's missed it.
Oh dear. We could be going for a 6 red.
So, Amy Beauchamp, 2 balls to tie the scores up. Well, she's not perfectly. I mean, she's nice and straight on it. She's not so near it that the shot's unmissable. Big shot this. She effectively go to a 6 red shootout if she pots this. And she does.
And in it goes. And is it going to be more TV arena heartbreak for Megan Proctor? She's been in 2 women pro finals and lost them both.
Megan had such a great chance there to close out what would have been a winning 6-4 lead. There's nothing really that can be done now. This is not a layout that either player's clearing up in 20 seconds. Amy's not even going to try, although she does need to play a shot. Well, I suppose time fouling isn't even a disaster, but she will time foul. Oh, she's called her extension. She's just going to call her extension from a chair.
I like the look on her face. She just shrugged the shoulders. Look, I'm not getting up. I'm not bothering walking over there. Don't blame her.
Both players see the funny side. The gong sounds for the end of the match. Amy Beauchamp 5, Megan Proctor 5. We are going to our second 6 red shootout of the weekend and our first in the women's competition.
This is the business end of this women's pro event. First semi-final. 6 red shootout between Amy Beauchamp and this is Megan Proctor who's going first. Nice little split.
It's a decent break. Almost dropped her cue on the table. Oh, and I think that's just put her off her stride. Just needs to regroup. These balls are still there for her. There's a time to be set here. This is better. Just in 2 minds about what to go for there though, and has left herself a long one.
That's
the key thing in a 6 red shootout is not to miss. Ooh, is that going to be a pot? Oh, she's potted both. That's going to change things. Oh, and she set a decent time in the end. Just over 30 seconds for Megan Proctor. Wow.
I think the first 2 balls took about 18 seconds and the next 4 took 12.
So, 30 seconds, 40 to beat to make a place in the final. It's not a bad break, but the white's bounced off. She's going to have to wait a second for the balls to move. This is going to be a problem.
Yeah, that was 5 seconds.
Oh, and she's missed the first one.
That was 5 seconds down the Swanee at the start as well.
She can still do this, but she can't miss from here. She's got to get all of these balls in the one visit. Now she's back in better position. Pot this to the centre, cannon the ball above it, or roll through.
I think Megan's going to be going through. Or is
Could
she?
she do it? She's going to have to hit this one quickly. Could she do this? Oh, how close is that? This is going to a photo finish. We're going to have to confirm this time. The clock in the arena showing 30.95, but it may be slightly quicker than that.
It was incredible, the last 4 or 5 balls there.
The players are waiting their fate. And it looks like it is Megan Proctor that has been confirmed as the winner. 30-40 just held. Wow, what incredible drama we've seen in our first semi-final. Just as well it is the first semi-final because Megan Proctor is going to need a minute to compose herself before she comes back to play the final later on tonight. She had a chance to win that match in ordinary play. Could have won 6-4. Let Amy Beauchamp in to level the scores up at 5 apiece, and then one of the most dramatic 6 red shootouts we've ever seen.